Good afternoon, Bears, and welcome to Rangers Radio for this pre-match show of Dundee United versus Rangers. Today you're joined by myself, GB, and the stato that is Rangers Radio, Port Bear. Good afternoon, Port Bear.
How we doing, mate? Happy New Year to everybody, and hope you're well, mate. Aye, good, excited.
Happy New Year to you, mate. I've not obviously spoke to you since then, so hope you had a nice time, mate. Today, mate, we're up at Tannadice. It's a tricky match, mate.
Dundee currently sit 11th, mate, and could be 12th depending on how the fixtures end before the weekend. The expectation, in my opinion, mate, and it's only my opinion, was probably high at Dundee United at the start of the season, due to some of the players that they added to the team, like the boy Levitt, Middleton, Stephen Fletcher with the experience. I think they should be a lot higher than their team suggests where they should be in the league right now, mate. And to me, they're in a right relegation battle right now. They also kept a lot of their key players for the last transfer window. So, I really did expect a lot more for them, mate. But the expectations have been smashed and they're now fighting for their Premier League lives, mate. So it should be a tough game today.
Yeah, mate, just like the start of the season for us when we went up there. The complacency side of things, we just can't be complacent up there, mate. The last game up there was a 1-0 result and a few dodgy decisions as well made up there. So today we've got the big talking point, VAR, on our side, and we've got a point to prove, and probably put some skeletons to bed today as well.
What we're looking for is Michael Beale to keep his unbeaten run going, mate. That's what I'm looking for today. I think it's all about us, in my opinion. I don't really pay too much attention to them, but what I will say is, like I said earlier on, I think with them fighting for their Premier League lives, mate, it's going to be a tough game. In my opinion, it should be a top 6 side minimum with the squad they've got. Probably pushing for a top 4. But it's all about what Rangers Day, mate, and I'm quite happy with the team that's been picked today. I see Cholak's come back in.
Aye, mate, you mentioned the team, so if you've got the team ready there, mate, let's give it out to the listeners, mate.
Guy, do you want to read the team out, mate? We've got a problem here.
Aye, buddy, right. So today, Bears, we have our starting 11 of McLaughlin, Tavernier, Golson, Davies, Barisic, Lundstrom, Jack, Tillman, Fashion Jr., Kent and Cholak. The substitutions is McGregor, Kamara, Sands, Morelos, Wright, Roof, Arfield, King and Devine. I think the one that jumps out for me, mate, is McLaughlin. McLaughlin gets his starting goals today. Very surprised with that, buddy. Your thoughts?
Aye, unless Alan McGregor's carrying an injury, mate, or he's unwell, that's the only reason I can see McLaughlin comes back in. Good to see the back four stay together again. A bit of continuity in that back four now with Barisic, Davies, Golson and Tavernier all back in again. I know a lot of our listeners during the week when I was listening in were looking for maybe Tav to get a wee break today and maybe Devine getting a start. Jack Lundstrom add to the stealing midfield, and then you've got, I think, Fashion during his last performance against Celtic. I think he more than deserves his chance up at Tannadice today. And Morelos, who's well-documented injuries, have been carrying. I think I listened to Michael Beale during the week, and it was 1 or 2 injuries they said he was basically dealing with at the moment. So it's good to see, Cholak coming back in, and Ryan Kent, after getting his screamer against them, mate, he's hopefully going to be on fire.
I'm very pleased with the mainstay, the Old Firm team starting again today. Like you've picked up Owen Fashion Jr., Kent, Tillman. Good to see Lundstrom back. I was very surprised that he's made the day. But what I says, it's going to be we're needing all our kind of leaders there today. Especially what I says, we're playing a team that came into this game in a wee bit of form. I mean, I think they've also had 13 points in their last few games, just like ourselves. So, but for what I'm reading for that team today, Port, I think we should have more than enough to hopefully deal with them.
Well, goal scoring. So if we start the season, mate, goal scoring has been a big problem for them. You know, they create problems for themselves. You know, and you know, I looked at some of the stats, and you know, each team that's played against them, you know, get 16 shots on goal per game, and 6 of them are inside the box. So they do struggle, you know, to keep the ball out their net. They've only scored 23 goals all season, so it's been massive for them. You know, a good striker at any club in Scotland will get you 12 to 15 points a season if they can hit the back of the net. But Dundee have really struggled, and as I said, defensively they've been very poor at keeping clean sheets. They were good at grinding out results. You know, last season they were very, you know, but it was a very different season this season, and they're getting chances regularly on goal per game. As I said, conceding 33 and 10, they've got minus 10 goal difference, mate. That's massive.
Well, aye, mate. I mean, again, they seem to be a team that always seem to turn up against us as well. Like you say, is that Tony Watt as well loves a game against us. So, aye, it's got to be a hard game, mate. But this is a phone-in show. We're looking for the Bears to give us their opinions, especially with John McLaughlin getting his start as the manager, trying to see if John McLaughlin's got a future as number one at Rangers. It'll be because like I says, I'm very surprised today. But let's hear from you. Let's hear the opinions.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
I thought, like I said, back to, I suppose, Rangers in the sense. I mean, I'm highlighting McLaughlin as a kind of surprise, but you did pick up on our defence. It's good to see a nice, solid defence. Again, Tavernier, Golson, Davies, Barisic. Tavernier came in for a bit of stick in the Old Firm game. Probably rightly so. I think me and Ox touched on that a wee bit, where who was really to blame for the first goal. I think overall that both players, Alfie and Tav, had their kind of say in that mix up. But it would be good to see Tav go up there the day and put a performance in and again answer his critics again, mate.
He's done it time and time in his Rangers career, guys. He's done it time and time again, answered critics, James Tavernier. I think it's only my opinion. I think he's been playing through injury, mate, and illness. If I'm you know, being honest, I think I can understand how a guy's forms dropped off so bad. Otherwise, you don't become a bad player overnight. And I've heard people saying, you know, maybe he just went that one season too long, and he's not got the injury anymore, etc., etc. I don't believe that, mate. I really don't. I think the captain still got a lot to offer Rangers as a fullback. I know he came under some major criticism defensively. I says, you know, but I do honestly think that guy's got, you know, still got a good few years left in him at Rangers. I think he offers goals, assists, and he's just got to turn that corner, mate. He's just got to get a game where he gets something down that right hand side. I've touched on it before on the show where I felt a lot's come down the left side this year. And I think that's been since the start of the season, and that tells me that Tav's not been fit pretty much since we kicked off this season, mate. I thought maybe the World Cup break would give them a wee rest to get their batteries charged, but Tav carried his poor form into the second half after the World Cup. So, but another game, mate. Like I always said about Tav, he never hides. He always shows, even through illness and injury. He's obviously telling the gaffer, I can play. I want to play. So I take my hat off to the guy for not hiding, mate, and being a captain and stepping up to play when he probably could have, sat on the bench and let young Devine play.
Yeah, that's the surprising thing, Port. Like when you're seeing Devine there is on the bench, people, certain groups of fans will be screaming for Devine to get his start. But clearly, I mean, we've not got a silly manager in charge, Port. We've got a guy there that does turn up to the training ground, wants to be on the grass, wants to watch his players in training, seeing who's putting the commitment in. And I honestly think if Tav was showing any signs of weakness in that position, I don't think our manager would be 2 minutes and not being sentimental and just dropping Tav. So Tav's clearly still doing enough to keep Devine away for the shot. And like I says, I think to me that puts to bed. I think Devine's got to be perfect for like maybe if we had a couple of goals up and we can bring him in and easily see out the game. But for me, it still tells us that our manager and we're all trusting in him, that our manager's still wanting to pick Tav or Devine.
Aye, Devine's got a massive future. There's no doubt about that, Gary, in professional football and at Rangers, in my opinion. I think he's pushing. According to Michael Beale, he's pushing Tav every day in training. It's only a matter of time before Devine will be hot on his heels and get maybe even overtake and take his place. But he's got one of the toughest jobs in football and at Rangers right now, and that's dislodging the Rangers' current captain, who's got stats that would blow anybody away in modern day football for a fullback. So he's got a tough ask to be, man. So he has, but if you want to play for Rangers, mate, and you want to be a first team starter, young Devine's got to oust the captain of the club, mate, and that's a hard ask.
Especially what he gives us, as much as Tav's got his faults in defence, Porter. I mean, he puts the penalty away in Old Firm, which puts us in the lead and stuff like that. And to be fair, as we've all said, Celtic didn't really have much today in the second half. We did keep them quiet, and that's supposedly with a weak Tavernier on that right side, mate. So it couldn't have been too shabby. I think obviously this gets highlighted sometimes for the mistakes that he does, but overall, when you look at that 90 minutes, was there much going on really doing Tav's side? I mean, especially like you say, if he's been carrying something, he's still dealing with it, and he's still keeping, like I says, Devine at the team. So, we can part that one up, but I think, like I says, our captain's our captain, and hopefully he'll be out there showing a performance and he'll lead us to the 3 points today. But I would like to obviously touch on Fashion Junior, buddy. Fashion's back in there. Finally, somebody's been able to hold that shirt on that right-hand side. And if it's anything to go by with his performance in Old Firm, mate, then long may it continue for Fashion.
Mate, honestly, watching that game, first half and second half, Fashion didn't stop. Duracell Bunny was like, mate, he chased everything. He chased every ball, tackled, tracked back, covering Tav. Is he the greatest at doing that? No, but he showed a willingness to get back and work for his team, worked his absolute socks off, mate, and had their defence on absolute toast. His pace in behind is always going to frighten people, Gary. It's always going to frighten people. And then the £25 million Croatian defender who's been linked with every club in Europe, so we're led to believe. I think Fashion embarrassed him when he came on, mate, if I'm totally honest. So I think the wee man deserves his spot. He's always a goal threat, and if he keeps that level of performance up, then he'll be fine.
Oh, just cut you across the report. I think we've been joined by Andy. I think Andy's come in. Andy, you there, bud?
Aye, afternoon, guys. Happy New Year's to you.
Happy New Year, Andy boy.
Happy New Year.
Aye. It seems much of a muchness, right? The only thing I would have done is I would have rested Tavernier if he is injured. In game that week before the cup semi-final, which is more important as it stands now. That's all I would have looked at. If he is getting that bad injury, it's not helping him, is it? So that's the only thing I did. Good to see Kolak come back in. That's good. But what we need him to do now is just go out with the right attitude. Go forward, play some football. It should, in turn, because we didn't sort them out there last Monday, it should in turn now that we should open up and just try and build some rhythm in the football team. That's what I'm looking for now. Don't know what you guys think on that one.
Paul, we've not came on him yet, but since Andy's brought him up, Cholak's back in the team today. Personally, for me, mate, he's our number one striker, and it's great to see him back in the team. And I think Dundee United's the kind of game that Cholak loves, the kind of physicality of the game, and I think he'll get right stuck in the day as long as he's fit and ready for it. But I'm really pleased to see him back.
Indeed. Andy, just what you touched on in regards, first of all, with the continuity of the team, the back four, I think, obviously we're trying to settle down a back four right away, with Tav, Goldson, Davies, Barisic. That's the only reason I can think that Tav's back in, mate, or not been dropped, sorry, for Divine. I do think he's carrying something, but I think he's obviously telling the gaffer. I don't know if you agree with us, Andy. Do you think he's saying to the gaffer, I'm fine, I can play? Sometimes you've got to pick players for themselves, but he must be putting himself forward, mate, to play. Otherwise, I don't think, like Gary touched on, he wouldn't have been there. Because I don't think...
I totally agree with that. I agree with that. But you see, what his gaffer should be doing, or what Bill should be doing, hold on, wait a minute. I need to get you right long term. I don't want to lose you long term. It just seems stupid. I mean, this mob, it's not a great park. If he's not good, this mob's going to get in about him. They'll go for him because he's looking weaker. But sometimes you have to just take a guy out of the team just for his own good and for the good of the team. And that's not me having a go at Tavernier or anything. I'm not going to do that. I just don't see the logic in it. We keep getting told that his form is terrible. But he's carrying an injury. Well, look, you as a manager, have a look at him. Sometimes you have to do something for the good of the player instead of him making the decision. And after all, he's the manager. So he needs to make decisions like that. That's going to help him in the long run and hopefully help Rangers when he comes back to some kind of form. That's how I look at it. I think that's what happened when we played in our debut, mind.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're saying the manager should protect him from himself, basically?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's something not right about him. Like you said, we all have disagreements. We all think, going forward, and he can take a penalty and put a ball in and all that. He shouldn't be taking every dead ball kick and all, because that's the thing. That becomes too predictable as well. But you can see there's something not right with him. You can't drastically go that bad. So you have to put it down to the injury. So it's down to Bale to say, come on. We've got Divine had done all right there, covering him. I know he's on the bench. But you put him in and let Tavernier sit on the bench if he wants to do it that way, and bring him in. But, we have to start protecting some of these players. The injury list is big enough as it is without, bringing more problems on. And that's what could happen.
Yep. In regards to Cholak, guys, just a question you asked me as well. I think this is only my opinion, guys. It's up for debate. I think Cholak's a completely different striker for Alfredo Morelos. I think the team has to be set up a wee bit different today to provide chances for Cholak, because he's a fox in the box and he's a deadly finisher. But I think when he's back to goal in the physical side of the game, Gary, I don't think he's quite got the same level of physicality as Alfredo's got. But he's a much better goal scorer. And if he's given the chances and given the service, he'll score today, definitely.
I mean, the two. He's a big talking point, and so is Morelos, I suppose. And again, what we need to hear is we need to hear for the Bears, mate. We need their opinions. So why not give us a call?
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Andy, just before we go back to Cholak, mate, you did make a perfect point, mate, about Tavernier. Like it says, if he is gaining injuries, obviously sometimes it's got to be taken out his hands. But I don't think our manager's that silly that he's putting a player out there to cost him points or for the sake of his health. I think personally he's just putting him out there because he is probably fit and ready. If he's not performing, then maybe the manager's wanting it to be a kind of an easier thing to take him out the team in a sense, because if he keeps performing, if he doesn't keep performing, then it makes it easier for the manager to go, well, I'm going to give Divine a start. So we'll wait and see, mate. We'll never know.
The point on that as well.
On you go.
Yeah, well, I think what we've got to do with Cholak is we've got to play his strengths. We play like we play to Morales' strengths, and that's not good because they're two totally different players. I think he would have played, and hindsight's brilliant and all that. I think he'd have played on Monday. I think he'd have scored one of their two chances that Morales missed. So, yeah, on the books, I would definitely say he's a better striker. But let's not forget, he was struggling a bit before he went out of the team. I think it was about 8 games he'd gone without scoring a goal. But there again, he wasn't playing to his strengths. It was like at times, I don't know what you thought, Joe, it was like at times that they didn't want to pass to him. Them latter few games. I might be reading it wrong, but that's just how it come across to me. And the other one I want to ask, go on.
No, I was going to say, would you like to see Kent be a wee bit more closer to him today, since Kent's getting that kind of free role now? Yeah,
well, I think he could actually, if he does what he can do and release the ball at the right time to Cole, like if we're in them positions, you could see the fruits of that happening, couldn't you? Really, That's what I would be looking for. King gets close to him and sets him up and gives him the ball. There shouldn't be any problem. I think he put the ball in the right angles for Kolak. He looks like he can put it in the rigging, doesn't he? He's proven that. We've seen that, scores goals. But you have to, it's like any striker, you've got to play to the strengths. And he should come up with a little kind of different up top there, because we know what Kolak can do. So hopefully he does that. And the other one I want to ask, like, Lowry played against Motherwell. Some people think no bad, some people think he got lost. And then he's suddenly not on the bench at all. Now, to me, is that not going to hurt that boy's confidence?
I'll take it to Port first of all, and then I'll think about my opinion in the game with my honest realism opinion. So I'll let Port take it first.
Andy, I just think with a young player, I think there's times where you take him in, you bring him out for like you're touching on earlier on, for his own benefit. Against Motherwell, I don't think he was at his best, but I don't think he was shocking either. I think he grew into the game. I don't think he was absolutely rotten that he drops right out of the squad. But I just think it's this, Andy. I just think it's horses for courses. I think he's got some experience back. The bench has been looking stronger than it's done for a wee while. You've got, Kamara, Sands, Morelos, Wright, Roof, Arfield, King and Devine on the bench. It's not been that strong for a wee while, Andy. I do think, Lowry will come in and out pretty much the rest of the season. But like I said that night against Motherwell, I done the pre-match show for that. He has to take his chances, Andy. And I think what you noticed as well, against big midfielders who's up against, because he played one deeper, didn't he? He played in the centre of the midfield that night. He just looked a bit light to me, Andy. And that's it. It was just men against boys, and I think he'll improve as he gets bigger. But it just showed it was men against boys that night for me, just as simple as that. I don't think it's anything to do with the boys' form or anything to do with the boys' ability, because we've never questioned that. I just think he's 6 foot. He's about 10 stone soaking weight, isn't he? So I think he's just got to fill it a wee bit if he wants to be a first team regular for Rangers.
Andy, my opinion on it, buddy, is that I'm actually concerned about his position in the team going forward, because the manager's already stated he's wanting 3 players in this window, right? Now, if you're talking at least one of them's got to be a midfielder, then that puts him into a lower pecking order already. The game against Hearts last season for me with Lowry I thought that was his moment, his time to say, right, that's me now up to a first team player, and you'll see me next season kick on, and obviously a few things have affected that. I think I'm probably with Port. I think maybe the manager's protecting him a wee bit, but it is a bit of a concern that, especially with still being a bit weak in the kind of creative options, that he's no even made the bench today for me. So I think time's going to tell with Lowry. Like you say, Andy, there's things being said about the Motherwell game. Was he ready? Was he in it? Was he no? He didn't take a shot. He didn't come on and have that kind of Hearts performance for me, to be honest. So I think that's how he was kind of. He's kind of been in the kind of background for me, but I really hope that he does shine, because having another Rangers boy, another Scottish Rangers player in there is going to help us going forward, especially with all these kind of restrictions coming in soon enough, that you've got to have so many Scottish players in your team. We need creative players, you know what I mean, and obviously players that don't cost us a lot, mate. So here's hoping he'll turn up in the future, buddy.
Yeah, it's just like I said, just a concern that he just suddenly just vanished again all the time, not sitting on the bench. I'm not saying he should come on and play, but, you know, could knock his... With that kind of guy, you probably know. He seems to have a bit about him, doesn't he? A bit of a swagger and all that. Hopefully, you know, he will come in. At the end of the day, we can't really afford to be losing players, and I think he's going to be a player, whether it's with us or with anybody else. You know, we can't be affording to let them players go. We've already done it with Patterson, you know, and with any kind of young guy in our team in the past few years have looked like anyway. Got them out and they faded away, got them out on loan and, you know, airing after them. You know, we need to start at some stage. We're going to have to start giving these guys some kind of game time. You know what I mean? Just to see. If they're not good enough, then you'll move them anyway. So I don't see, you know, by not trying them at certain parts, that's where the problem comes. If another thing like Pot said, then all right, he's a bit lightweight, right enough. Mind you, they said after Morales' diet, it'd be all right, wouldn't they?
maybe pick up on his diet, Andy.
Can I ask you, GB? Can I ask, where do you see long term? Where do you two see Alex Lowry? Is he a number 10? I mean, cause I don't think he's got pace to play in a wing, right? Or do you see him as like a number 8? You know, playing like Michael Beale did against Motherwell, where he played him in that midfield 3. Where do you guys see Lowry, you know, developing into the future?
Mate, I think for what I've seen him, I like him in the number 8 position. See the way Tillman's been kind of playing, where he's been part of that midfield, but he's the attacking midfielder for us. I think Lowry's got the same ability as what Tillman's got, but I think Tillman's just got more a better football brain, if that's the way you can say it. I just don't think Lowry Lowry and Tillman are not that far away in ages and stuff like that, but I don't know. Tillman seems to be more and this isn't no me being disrespectful to Lowry, but I think Tillman seems more a man already, whereas Lowry still seems like a wee boy, still learning his trade. So if he does flourish, then I would probably say the number 8 for me, mate.
And basically what I'm saying here is, you touched on it, Gary, so we're going to be bringing in, you know, possibly, 2 maybe midfielders in this transfer window. So long term, does that not put him further down the pecking order? That's the worrying thing, and I don't want to see that happening. But if we're going to invest in midfield or a player that can open up defences, i.e. a number 10, with Tom Lawrence especially being out as well, does this not push Lowry further the pecking order?
Yeah, it's interesting, Port. I mean, but anyway, I'll read out the team again, and we'll see how the existing players in this first 11 are going to deal with the day, mate. So here we go. We've got McLaughlin, Tavernier, Golson, Davies, Barisic, Lundstrom, Jack, Tillman, Fashion Jr., Kent, and Cholak. Our substitutions is McGregor, Kamara, Sands, Morelos, Wright, Roof, Arfield, King, and Devine. Let's say it's a very strong team, Andy.
I mean, we come out and play. We shouldn't have a problem with them, right enough. But you know what you're going to get against these teams? We play 38 cup finals a season or whatever it is. We play in the league and the cup games. We've got to adapt to that. We shouldn't even be talking about that as a Rangers fan. We should know, and the players should have it drilled in them. We know what we're going to get off of these teams. So, yeah, I'm looking for Rangers. I'm hoping now that they're just going to try and spread themselves in the league here a wee bit and come back and get some balance going forward. Started to look a slightly bit stronger at the back, I would say, with Davis and Golston at the minute. I think that will be your pairing if they stay fit. Midfield, we've got to sort that out, haven't we? You know what I mean? Again, you've got Jack that doesn't look totally fit to me, and you've got Lumsden that's playing with, bust ribs or whatever, So, again, that's good on them, I suppose, right enough. They're willing to put themselves out there a goal, but as I say, I keep going back to it. I think the manager should just look at it and come on, let's see what I can do with these players. I know they're injured, I know we've got a few out there, but we need to start, let's say for one another word, we need to start protecting these players if they are injured, because we've seen in the past, haven't we, by playing players, what it's done to certain players, So you've got to balance it somewhere down the line. But it feels quite strong, I suppose. Today we should be okay. Just get out there and play. Just go forward on straight from the off, see what happens, and let us know that that we're going forward. I mean, the results haven't been bad, but they haven't been great in performance, have they? But we'd take that, wouldn't we? At this moment in time, till we get it right, till he gets his players in and who he wants, you take wins. Wins breeds confidence. I mean, just a bit disappointing what happened on Monday, wasn't it? Because they were there, weren't they? And we had them. We just made a bad tactical decision in the substitutions and moving Sashin in from the wing. They were the bad decisions that cost us a win, really, weren't they? I think it would have carried on the way we were. Brought a striker on, we'd have probably won that game. But it's gone now. We didn't get beat, and we move forward to Dundee United. And we've got a big one next week, in my opinion. This is a chance of getting into a final and winning a trophy, isn't it? And that's what we've got to be looking at now.
Well, they've got to play that for their position in that game, Andy, especially the day. Mm-hmm. The day is the time to cement that for next week, Porter. You mean, like, you've got Fashion again. You want him to hold on to that right-hand side. You want Tillman to turn up the day and be that creative player for us. For me, I think Kent and Cholak the day, if they're on fire, mate, I think there's only going to be one winner the day, mate.
Oh, 100%. Front four, Gary, Tillman, Fashion Junior, Kent and Cholak, they offer so much attacking threat. If you Cholak, who, if the service is good, he's putting in the net. He's busting the net. He's proved that in his the early part of the season. Kent, we all said a goal, against who it may be, would lift the wee man's confidence, and probably push him on to finish a strong end of the season. So he gets his screamer against them, which he always seems to do against them. Hopefully it lifts his confidence, and that fires him up for the remainder of the season. Fashion Junior, who's holding that right side at the moment, fair play to wee man. It's his shirt to lose now. I just hope he's got the same attitude and application as he did against Celtic, mate. And if he keeps that form up, then I don't see who else goes into the right. And then Tillman, who we've all been raving about all season, I think he's a magic man. I think he's a guy that unlocks defences when things are tight and turgid, and you're not knowing which way the game's going to go. I think he's a go-to man right now. I think he's a guy that's got that bit of magic in his feet to open that. Unlock these defences, and also he's good in the air, and he's got an eye for a goal, Gary. You know what I mean? One thing, Gary, I'm going to ask you about is regarding, we've got a good scoring record, Gary, right? We've got 46 goals, but all of them are in the second half. 69.6% of our goals are in the second half. I think we need to start scoring the first half, Gary, and trying to, get that first goal in games, because I think it takes a lot of pressure off the team, the players. They can start playing a bit of freedom. I just think we need to get that, that first goal early. 69.6% of our goals are in the second half, and I think that brings its own pressure, Gary.
Mm-hmm. Andy, that's the thing, mate. Isn't it? We can't give the likes of Stephen Fletcher a sniff 10 minutes of time when we're sitting at 0-0.
No, well, that's the problem. I've always said that. I always like to see Rangers go. If you need to get that first goal in the first 15 minutes, follow it up around about the 25-minute mark, hopefully with a second, that takes the pressure off, because Rangers could play well all day. And you and I, and most of us out there, know that if it's nothing each, 1-0, when they come on, every team will come on and have 10-minute goal. We're fragile at the back for some apparent reason. Is it that they can't defend, or is it that they just panic? That's the big question there, really, because you can never ever feel confident if Rangers are only 1-0 up or nothing each with 15 minutes to go. Your heart's in your mouth, or it is with me anyway. So you need to come out. You need to come out in that first 20 minutes and at least get the first goal, and then hopefully you get the second one. Then the game's different, isn't it? A team might get back in and it gets it to 2-1, then it becomes a different game. But if you usually get 1 or 2 up, Rangers usually, or they used to do in my day anyway, they usually go on and do it. But even at that, back in my day when I followed them guys, they could batter teams from the start, get 2 up, and then get a third, and then they'd sit back and just say, we've done enough. I want to see Rangers now, the new Rangers coming out, every chance we get, try and take them, punish these teams, put them back in the box, let them know that we've had enough. And if we could pull with that attitude, we'll all be happy. We'll be happy today, I'm pretty sure, because I think we're going to win today. I don't no vibes about that right enough. It's more about cutting that gap down, getting the goal tally up to something like there, so that don't look too bad, and getting into the 18 finals and winning them. And then we'll take it. It's not the one that we want, but we'd take that, wouldn't we? We could cut that gap down, win the 2 cups, and then we'll get ready, and then he gets his plays. So that's what we've got to look at now. We ain't winning the league, never going to give it in, but we ain't getting that back. So let's make sure we get the 2 cups and our attitude's right, and we're going forward. We introduce a couple of players which looks like it's going to happen, and then we'll see where we go. Never heard of him, by the way, so I'll let you tell me if you've heard of him, because I don't. It's not Rangers I don't watch.
We'll keep that till they come in, mate, and we'll discuss them. Port, big. You're saying, well, your question is about obviously is getting the goals in the first half. I think it's important that, again, like I was saying to Andy, that we start from the back. We don't concede, because we love to give these teams a wee goal at a start just to make it interesting, don't we?
20 games, mate, this season we've given teams a goal start. 20 games.
Shocking. And that's what I'm saying, a guy like Fletcher will be on that.
Yep.
A guy like Fletcher will be all that. But again, it has to start for the back, and Big McLaughlin, I think the day's got a big game in his hands. I think they'll definitely be seeing that as a weakness in our team today. I think they'll be going for that, and it's up to the big man to show his mettle today, I think, mate.
Again, mate, I mean, anytime he's deputised for McGregor, he's done very, very well. It just seems to be the pressure of being the number one goalkeeper for me gets to him, and I don't understand why. Gio gave him the gloves at the start of the season and told him, you crack on, you're number one this year. And then, the well-documented mistakes he makes in the pure game against that mob, and he loses his shirt to a 40-year-old keeper. It's sort of, like Andy always touches on, it's attitude, application and character. He seems to struggle with the pressure of being number one at Rangers, mate. And again, they're another lifeline thrown to him. Let's see what you can do. I mean, I think he's 33, 34. So 7 years of difference between him and McGregor. He should be really going and grabbing that with both hands, mate. Because after this season, we could probably say goodbye to McGregor, and I'd be looking for that anyway. I'd like to see a new keeper in anyway. But McLaughlin's got a real chance, mate, to take that jersey and make it his own. But has he got the character to do it?
And he's kind of lucky in a sense to get that kind of second chance. I think the manager's been very kind to him, but it'll be interesting to see. I think Dundee United, like I says, will see that as a kind of weak point today for us.
Yeah, possibly, but I mean, he apart from the filth game and all that, he hasn't done that bad, right? And his record's very good if you look at it, right enough. I think it's a no-brainer that he's going to. You might see a few of these games going forward to the end of the season now. That McGregor's not in the sticks quite a lot. He'll come in and out of games, because it's a no-brainer, really. He's not going to be around. They don't seem prepared to use the young boy McCrory. And I've got to look at it. They missed a trick with that Dundee United goal that went to them. They should have gone for him. He wanted to come to Rangers. And I like the boy that was at St Johnstone and all. They should have got either one of them, brought in. But look, they've made that mistake. They're going with what they've got. Yeah, I can see McGregor setting out quite a few now. Probably playing the cup games and all that, right enough. But there again, does that do McLaughlin any good confidence-wise if that's the way it goes? We'll see.
You touched on confidence, Andy. You touched on confidence, buddy. How is the confidence feeling today in your camp? Are you, after that performance in the Old Firm, is the confidence there today for us to go out and, I would say, give Dundee United a good doing today? How would you like that?
Yeah, well, you would like to think that, although the disappointment sets in, about we had them and we didn't get through, and it must hurt the players, because there it would have looked a whole lot brighter that 6 went after it, but it wasn't. But they players, if they want to hang about, right? Although we know a lot of them's out of contract, but if they want to hang about or persuade Beale that he thinks that they can give another chance, it's up to them to go out every game they play for Rangers now and put it on. That's all we ask of them. I said that before the Old Firm game. If they don't, you know what I'm going to be like, don't you? I'll come on, kill them straight away. you know what I mean? But I'm looking for them today. I'm just looking for what to go out and put in a performance. And if they put in a performance and try, then as I said, I'll be honest. But if they let you down and all that, they shouldn't be now. There's a new manager there even now. They should be all buzzing and wanting to impress. So let's see if they can do that. This is going to be a hard game. We know that. Not because they're great. It's because of the way they come at us and the tricks they get up to. But combat that. Put it down and say, look, we're Rangers. We're not bother who you are. We're going to sort you out. Now, we can come out with that attitude. Brilliant. That's what we all want in that.
Yep.
Port, this might be a silly question, mate, to you, but since you're the statistician, but I would say the formation today has got to be much like the Old Firm game for us. I can't see him really changing anything up front. It's going to be the kind of, the 4-4-2...
3-1.
Well, aye, 3-1,
But I think it'll be 4-2-3-1, mate, and obviously, like you touched on earlier on, Kent will get his free rolling. He'll go and get to join up with. He'll be the one, in my opinion, that gets close to Jolak, and they'll be looking for him to make, the real difference. Tillman will join up midfield to front, and Fashion will just try and play on the shoulders of defenders and use his pace and his, his uncanny skills that sometimes I don't think he knows what he's doing, mate, and I think that confuses the opposition defenders. But it works and it's effective. And as I said, like his pace he's got, mate, every defender on the planet doesn't like players that's direct running at you because everyone's got to go run backwards. And the wee man's got an eye for a goal, mate. So I think on that last game, I think we've shown form under Beale. We've showed character. We've showed fight, desire. We've every question Michael Beale's asked to this squad currently, they've answered, mate. And a lot of people didn't think, I know a lot of people didn't think that all the negative Nellies, as I call them, didn't think Rangers had that sort of performance in them in the last game. So let's hope they take that performance from that game, mate, and into this game, because in my opinion, there's only one winner, and that's Rangers, and it'll be a convincing one, 3 or 4-1, mate.
Oh, you lead me into my kind of winding up questions. Poor Andy, I want to know your score prediction, and I want to know your goal scorers for today, buddy.
I took 4-1 in my daft, and I think I got 40-1 for that. Was it 4-2? I can't remember. I got 40-1 for one of them. I think logically, Mahid, I think we can win this game maybe 3-1, 3-0. I would like it being a clean sheet. You want my goal scorers? Jack a hat-trick and Lumsden the other one.
So Jack's getting 2 and Lundstrom's getting 2?
No, Jack's getting 3 and Lumsden getting 1.
Port Bear, the same question to you, buddy. I want your goal scorers and score prediction, please.
I'm going for a 3-0, Gary. I'm going for a Cholak, Kent and Tillman. That's my 3 scorers a day.
Nice, mate, nice. I'm going to go a nice steady 3-0 for Rangers today, and it's going to be a Cholak hat-trick. There you go.
Oh, what a comeback that would be.
That would be some statement. Well, lads, we've kind of reached that time. It's time to go and get comfy, get the coffee on, or in Andy's case, the double vodka on.
Just a double?
Just a double, maybe we ask him. But no, it's been a pleasure, Andy. Thank you for phoning in.
Oh, no, this was great talking to you, and hopefully we get a result, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Yeah, mate. Well, we're going to be on 15 minutes after the full-time whistle.
Well, I try not to come in, Gary, after it with the emotions, right enough, like, you know what I mean? So I'm only going to win because if I come in with not good score, I'll probably get banned on Monday.
You're always welcome. Port Bear, final words, bud.
Aye, look, let's here and get a result, mate. We know what we're capable of. Michael Beale knows what they're capable of. And a good performance, a strong Rangers win a day, mate. Yep.
Brilliant, lads. Well, thank you to the technical team behind in the background. Thank you to Port Bear. Thank you for our Andy for phoning in and giving his great points of view. And we'll, what I say, see you after the full time, 15 minutes after the full time whistle, for our post-match reaction. This has been Rangers Radio. Thank you.
Push that TV calling, just push that TV all I know. They're the boys and lawyers. the underlegs the best they've ever seen. The Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur too. There's Arsenal, Chelsea, Blackburn, just to name the famous few. Who's that team they call it? Just who's that team they all adore?